So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, before we talk about the next match, we gotta talk about a backstage segment. So yeah, we see the United States Champion, Ilya Dragunov, running into Tama Tonga. They had a stare down and Tama walks off, and then Tommaso Ciampa comes up, and Ciampa was talking about how he would have answered the open challenge and pretty much be United States Champion right now if he didn't have a tag team match tonight. So yeah, that's what Ciampa was saying, and then Ilya calls him a jackass still. So yeah, that's what happened there. Ilya walks off. Ciampa wasn't too happy about that, and then Johnny Gargano comes up with Candice LeRae, and he says that they got to focus on that tag team match against Fraxium tonight. So yeah, that's what happened there. Then after that, we get to the next match of the night. It was Carmelo Hayes versus Bronson Reed in the first round of the Last Time Is Now tournament. We get to this match, and this match, it was going pretty well. During this match, we see Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, and Paul Heyman coming up to ringside during this match. And yeah, there was a bunch of interference in this match, but Melo was doing pretty well up against Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed was trying to do everything that he could do to try to take down Melo, like he tried his tsunami at one point. Melo moved out the way, and Melo was doing everything that he could do to take down Bronson Reed. Actually, at one point, he throws him outside of the ring, jumping over the top rope with a front flip senton onto the Vision and Logan Paul, taking them out. He throws Reed back into the ring, climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumping off with a nice DDT on the Reed. He pins him 1, 2. Reed barely kicks out at 2. Melo then got knocked out of the ring at one point, and then Logan Paul was distracting the referee, and then that's when Braun Breaker had the bright idea to go run and try to spear Melo through the barricade, but then he gets hit with a super kick by Jey Uso, and then Jimmy comes up as well, and then we see the Usos brawling with Braun Breaker and Logan Paul, and they go through the crowd brawling and everything. And while that's going on, Bronson Reed gets out of the ring. Paul Heyman is distracting the referee, and Bronson Reed picks up Carmelo Hayes. But then Cody Rhodes comes up, pushing Reed into the ring post face first. And then after that, Cody grabs Bronson, and he has a crossroads onto him outside of the ring. And then he picks up Melo, throwing him back into the ring. Rhodes moves out the way, and then the referee got to the count of 10, counting out Bronson Reed. So yeah, Carmelo Hayes advances to the next round of the Last Time Is Now tournament by defeating Bronson Reed by countout. It was a pretty good matchup. For that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a pretty good match. But then after the match ended, we see Cody Rhodes grab the mic and he gets up on the announce table and he starts calling out Drew McIntyre and everything. And then he says that, you know what? At first he was saying he was done with McIntyre. Now he says that he's not done with him now. And then he starts taking shots at Bronson Reed, talking about how Bronson Reed's pretty damn good, but, you know, he's only going to know after he's looking up at the lights. And then he was talking about Braun Breaker and everything, talking about how the Steiners know better than the Rhodes and all that, because the Rhodes is always better than the Steiners. And then he was talking about Logan Paul doing all these flips and everything. And then he was talking about Brock Lesnar, talking about how he already done defeated Brock Lesnar twice. And then he says that he'll see them all at War Games. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good promo from Cody there. But then, after that, we see Chelsea Green running up, and then Chelsea Green hides into the locker room while Alba Fire's standing right there, and then we see Julia and Kiana James trying to look for Chelsea Green, but she pretty much says that she's not around, and they walked off, and then Chelsea comes walking out, and she was talking about how she's the greatest women's champion and all that stuff, and then Jay Cargill comes up, and Jay was like, repeat yourself again, what did you say? And then Chelsea Green runs off. So yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, next it'll be DIY versus Fraxium in a tag team match up next on SmackDown. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then.